Hello there, this is Alex from Who Target Podcast, and today we are discussing Lucky Day, the newest episode of Doctor Who. So come in and enjoy. What an episode. Pete McKay, I think it's Peter McKay, has done an absolute excellent job on the script, on the writing. It's beautifully directed. So we start with the Doctor and Belinda trying to get back to Earth with the Vindicator and ending up, instead of 2025, in 2007 New Year's Eve, with a very interesting, scary sort of kid who is being thrown out of his house because his mother doesn't really want him there, called Conrad, who the Doctor gives a 50 pence to and says it's his lucky day. We then find out that he gets obsessed by looking for the Doctor and the TARDIS and runs a podcast and a video like we all do these days and makes money and a good living from that, but plays it down. He sort of makes out to be the unlost sort of person and finds that the one person he needs to speak to, lo and behold, is Ruby Sunday. And Let's get her name right. Ruby Sunday is back. I think he said the wrong name then, so I apologise. And Melissa Gibson, that's what I want to say, is back as Ruby Sunday. She is basically trying to tell Conrad that all these things about aliens are true, because he believes that it's all either fake or costumes or the government. He's basically going on that lapse, but he's basically trying to make his own way in making money and doing all the sort of things that somebody like Elon Musk or that would do. So we also have Ruby's family back. We have the Sundays back. We have Cherry, and we have Ruby's adoptive mother and her actual mother, who are getting on very well. They're quite happy she's got a boyfriend. But it's sort of great little bits in the scene, what she does, what make you think that she's going to go somewhere. She doesn't have to be with the Doctor any longer to have a life. And then she goes away. But before this, I haven't mentioned, is that we have the great bit, which is basically explaining what happened between the bit where she met the Beatles to the bit afterwards. So that big gap where we haven't really had any answers has finally been answered. And that is when Conrad meets her and the Doctor for the second time in the department store, which is basically, I think it's the same department store that Rose used to work for, and I think it's also now the derelict at House of Fraser in Cardiff. If I've got that wrong, let me know where it actually is in the comments, basically. Let me know. So then, while we're in this department store, there's some brilliant sort of scary shots with this new monster called a Sarik. I think that's how you pronounce it. Might pronounce it wrong. And they're very nasty, very teeth. Look really good. Some really great little lighting shots, because you know when they come in, because they can eat electricity bases. Every lights go dark and signs start to flash and flutter. So yeah, the Doctor manages to capture one, and we find out that Ruby's immune, and that's when they sort of semi-first meet Conrad, basically. So going back to the date, she ends up, everything goes well, and she ends up going off to this village where Conrad lives. And there's just great lines. I love the fact that Cherry's getting all, if you get careful, because, and it's a great little reference to racism again, about being, your skin colour, people will notice, and then Ruby's mum plays it down by going, she's "What's the Wicker Man?" So it was a great little bit of comedy there. We get to this village and it all starts to go very wrong very quickly. But this is all a subterfuge, because they know, the people in the village, and Conrad knows that Ruby's involved with UNIT. And because they think the Sariks are there, the UNIT lot all drop in, and you get Kate Stewart there, basically, which is Gemma being amazing as ever. Because this is what Conrad wants, you find out this is all a hoax to show how terrible UNIT are, how UNIT are all funded by the government, and we're paying for everything of their technology, basically, which is all a hoax. And because it's the 21st century, he's live broadcasting everything, Conrad is. And Conrad's a really good character. I really like this sort of villainous sort of pathway he takes. He sort of really sucks Ruby in for nearly 3/4 of the episode, because this is a very Ruby centric episode, to be bluntly honest. You only really see the Doctor at the beginning and the end, really, to be honest, and Belinda's only in it right at the beginning. So it's a very Ruby centric episode. I think works really well, to be honest. I think it's a rather good episode. So we get to this bit where UNIT are being shown to be the villains. Conrad works out how to get into the UNIT headquarters by killing the guy. He's a tech guy called Jordan there. Then we have this great standoff between Conrad and Kate. And I know a lot of people find Kate a bit boring, but she's really ice cold. You would not want to mess with her, because, there's this great standoff between Conrad and Kate where he basically goes, well, you're a coward and your father was a coward. That really annoys her. To call the Brigadier's a coward is very low, in my opinion. And instead of shooting him, which I would have done on the spot, basically, he was a real pain in the arse, Conrad is. She basically thinks, right, he wants to see that this is all real. And there's that great other line where she goes, well, it's a good job the Doctor isn't here, because he would have stopped me. And she goes onto the roof and lets the Shriek out, basically. And he still doesn't believe that it's a real monster, and the Shriek hunts him down, because earlier in the episode, the Shriek has marked him for hunting, basically, with the sort of stuff they shoot on people. It's like a steroid, something they can shriek into your bloodstream. And when he's in the UNIT headquarters, he basically is being stalked by the Shriek, and then he still doesn't believe, right to the end, but he doesn't believe, and is about to get eaten by the Shriek, basically, but Ruby manages to taser him. And there's some brilliant 5.1 in this episode. The gunshots in that bit are beautifully done if you've got a good 5.1 system. But Ruby saves the day by tasering it. And then we move into another level. I think this is the best bit of Shute's Doctor, basically. When he's in hospital, the Conrad gets teleported into the TARDIS. And they have this confrontation, the Doctor and Conrad, where we see the sort of fact that the Doctor is just saying, well, people are allowed to have a normal life, and it's because of your noise and manipulation that makes people not have a normal life and believe in all this rubbish, basically. And it's basically, it was an allegory for Trump and Elon Musk, if you want my honest opinion. Even with the costumes, when we're in the village and they all turn out to be villains, we see this sort of costumes look very much like American red caps and that, basically. When they say they're safe space, is sort of think tank, not safe space. It's a really better name for them. Think tank's what they say they are. And then we get this great sort of standoff between, as I said, at the end of the episode, between the Doctor and Conrad, and he basically says, well, do you remember your friends you've had in the past? He says, you'll mess with my friend, basically. And he goes, well, you're just going to end up dead in a cell because of your hatred. And Conrad goes, take me back to the cell, which the Doctor does by flicking his fingers. And basically, this is a flood alert. A flood alert is coming. They have this more questions. Mrs. Flood is there, and she's running the whole wing. Now, people are wondering, I saw on Twitter X earlier, that is she putting a crew together, basically, who are basically at the end of this season are going to take out the Earth and the Doctor. Let me know your comments there. So, yeah, a really good episode. I think, again, this is another really strong one. This is going to be the thing about this season, I think. We've gone from starting a little bit low pace with the Robot Revolution. Good opener, in my opinion. No way as bad as Space Babies from last year. And then we slowly built to Lux, which was brilliant, and then to The Well, which was even better. And then, Lucky Day has been absolutely excellent start. I really enjoyed it. I think Pete McKay is definitely a tenderer for the new CEO of Doctor Who. I think if Russell does stand down, I think they should get Pete McKay, because his starring is so good. And I have to admit, when he was in the Chris Chibnall period, one of the best Chris Chibnall episodes was definitely Bubble. I really liked that. So a really good episode. Ruby back is a good thing. It's just a shame they didn't have Ruby and Belinda together. I would have liked that. Maybe a little bit too overuse of music in this episode to get things across, like feelings and emotions. There's a bit, as much as I think the Ruby Sunday theme is beautiful, very good. One of Meredith Gold's best piece of music, in my opinion. I think it was just a little bit overused tonight, and tension music as well, a bit overused. But I really like this episode, and I'm just praying we don't have a season 26 on hand. We get a brilliant season and it gets cancelled, so I'm hoping not. Next week, I see, is called The History of the Engine, I think it's called. And by the looks of it, it's all going to be in Nigeria, as I presume is Cardiff. I don't doubt they've been to Nigeria. They might have used the wall at Disney to make you think it's Nigeria. I know Shooty's been looking forward to this episode for a while because he's always wanted it's probably about the Nigerian gods, and they're somehow probably connected to the pantheon of gods, maybe. I know Shooty's been wanting to do an episode about the whole Nigerian myths, basically, and their gods, basically. So yeah, I've really enjoyed this episode. I'm enjoying all of them so far this season. It's been a very good season so far, and I'm looking forward to the history of the engine, basically. That looks a really interesting episode, and stuff still to come on the channel, as I'll do tomorrow, is The Last of Us, a little bit on that episode, what's been going on in season 2. Episode 3 must be up to The Last of Us, which is great. If you ever played the game, I'd love to know. Love to know how similar to the game and the actual TV episodes are. Let me know in the comments here. And yeah, that's Bird. I know I still haven't done it. I'm glad to see apparently what it's been commissioned for season 2, so that'll be well worth seeing. And yeah, I look forward to doing more stuff on Doctor Who soon. So keep the love, people, and enjoy what you're watching. And if you're not already subscribing, please hit the bell for updates, links, and all that stuff so you never miss an episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.